Greetings and welcome to Nathan Lyle Official. If you have never seen my face in a video before, my name is Nathan Lyle. This is my personal channel where I record vlogs, reviews, and whatever else happens to catch my fancy at the time. This specific video is part of a segment that I call Anime Corner, where at the end of a simulcast run, I review all of the animes that I watched and tell you which ones were my favorites, which ones I didn't like and why. So be sure to check out all the other videos on this playlist, but those will be coming soon. But for now, I'm beginning with what is usually the final segment, but I'm doing it first since I know this is going to be spread out over a whole week. I figure let's get to the meat and potatoes. Which ones were my absolute favorites from the current simulcast? So, Anime Corner for the fall 2015, these are my all-time favorite top 5s that I watched. We're going to start with one that didn't quite make the top 5, but I'm giving it an honorable mention. It's called World Trigger. It's continuing on from a previous simulcast. It's about 60 episodes right now. It's been going on for about a year and a half, and it's a story about how there's a city called Mikado City where gates started opening up. These portals from another dimension, weird creatures came out, started attacking people, kidnapping them. And so the Border Defense Agency created a new weapon called a trigger, which used Trion, and that's how they were able to stop them. And now you have a high school kid who named Osamu, and he's in training at Border when suddenly he meets Yuma Kuga, who apparently turns out to be a neighbor, which Osamu did not know that there were humanoid neighbors. He thought neighbors were all these weird monstrous creatures that kept attacking. And so that's how they started on their journey. The current simulcast episodes focus on how in the middle of the B rank wars, while they're trying to move up to A rank so they can go on away missions into the neighborhood, they take a break to do some training in a different city when suddenly they bump into a couple of neighbors who escaped into their world, and now Osamu, Chika, and Yuma are helping them evade the guy that's coming to capture them. To make a long story as short as possible, the reason I gave this one the honorable mention this time around is simply because we're 60 episodes into the series and I'm still watching it. I still find it as intriguing as I did when I first saw it, when it first started showing up. So the fact that we can go this long and I still have that same love for it means they must be doing something right. It's a very interesting storyline with interesting characters. You see a lot of growth as the plot develops. There's not necessarily a lot of surprise. There aren't really those, oh my god, shock and awe twists and turns necessarily. But it's still a very interesting plot line that I feel is definitely worth following. You should check it out, give it a try if you haven't. Like I said, we're at 60 episodes now, so if you have never seen it before, then it might take you a while to catch up, but I personally feel like it is worth it. Now we're going up the list, starting with number 5, and I've given that to Sakurako-san no ashimoto ni wa shitai ga umatte iru, which in English it's Beautiful Bones, Sakurako's Investigations. That one you can find on Crunchyroll. So, to make a long story as short as possible, there's this woman who her career is studying bones. Like, that's what she does for a living. She studies bones of different animals and all kinds of creatures and whatever. And she's friends with a high school boy named Shotaro. And so he and Sakurako, that's a woman, every time they hang out together, they end up finding the remains of a human. They end up finding a dead body, and she uses her science skills to look at the bones, determine how this person died, and they work with the police to find the murderer and get them put away, or at the very least, like, find the cause of this person's death to give the family closure. It's a fairly interesting storyline, and I know a lot of other people really love it. I think it's really great, and like I said, it's good enough to get into the top 5, and it really stood out compared to all the rest of the about mediocre anime that stood out. I mean, it's got a lot of good moments, a lot of good humor. I do like the characters, and there are a lot of really heartfelt moments here and there. I mean, it's not one of my favorites, but I would agree with everyone else who's watched it. It is a very well-made anime, very well put together. Moving on to number 4 on the list, we have Ori ga Ojo-sama Gakko ni Shomen Sanpuru Toshita Rachira Rataken. which in English roughly translates to, I was abducted by an elite all-girls school as a sample commoner. Thankfully, the English title is just Shonen Sample. 2 words, easier to remember. To make a long story as short as possible, Shonen Sample, it is a harem anime. So, I know a lot of people hate harem anime, so if the fact that it's harem, if that alone scares you away, then sure, don't watch it. And I'm gonna be honest, it basically follows every normal harem anime trope, but they pull it off so much better than so many others. There is a high school boy who is abducted. He is kidnapped and he is implanted in a high school full of girls. It's an all-girls school for all of the richest and most elite families. They send their daughters here and they are isolated from the rest of society. And that's become a problem for them because when they leave the school, they're not able to survive well in the real world all on their own. And so they abducted this teenage boy as an example of what the rest of the world looks like. And the one reason he was abducted is because somehow they got it into their heads that he was gay and that he's into really muscle-bound dudes. So they figured there's no way in hell that there would be any issues with him, like chasing after all of these girls. But of course, him being into muscle dudes was a complete and total lie. And so he has to keep that. So he has to keep the fact that he likes girls hidden. Otherwise, they will castrate him. It's incredibly funny. I've loved it from episode 1. It had me laughing. I mean, I was in stitches through almost all of it. I think it's just incredibly funny. I found it hilarious. I personally love it, and I would recommend you checking out 1 or 2 episodes. And if you don't like it, well, then you don't have to watch it. But I feel like it is something worth looking at. So these 3 anime made the entire simulcast worth sitting through. Starting with number 3, Noragami. It came back for season 2. Yeah! So Noragami basically starts with a high school girl. She jumps in front of a van to save a guy, to push a guy out of the way, save his life. And her soul ends up getting separated from her body, so now she can jump in and out of her body. And now she's connected to the far shore, which is the world of gods. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend you checking it out. The first season was really amazing. It had great characters, great comedy, great action. There was a lot of great development with both the characters and the plot line. There were some really heartfelt moments. And then you move on to season 2 and everything just seemed to amplify 10 times. Oh my god. Honestly, the only reason this is number 3 is because it's too damn good. It made me feel things. It made me feel real emotions. And I don't like feeling that. I don't like anime that makes me cry, okay? This one made me cry. It was too damn real, okay? If this anime doesn't make you feel the feels, well then you have no feels to feel, you feel me? Now number 2 is a kind of surprise one. It came out of nowhere. I hadn't heard of it at all leading up to the simulcast. I had heard of Shonen Sample, I'd heard of Haikyuu coming back. I knew about some of these others. This one just came out of nowhere. It's called Heavy Object. You can find it on Funimation. Heavy Object takes place in a kind of futuristic world where basically they created a new weapon called an object. And what an object is, well, it's basically just an overpowered tank. It's just a giant 100-foot tall weapon of mass destruction. It's just a giant tank with a lot of huge guns that they go around, and basically now wars are now decided by objects. You have one object versus another object. If your object gets disabled, well guess what? Most of the time you give up and you go home. And I fucking love this show. I was hooked from the episode 1. It's got great comedy. I really love all of these characters. It's got great action and it's got just really interesting storyline. It has me on the edge of the seat every single time. I honestly, sincerely love it. I cannot recommend it highly enough. If you haven't seen it before, go check it out right now. And in fact, the only reason why this is number 2 is because of what's number 1. Here we are, we finally made it. What is my favorite anime from the current simulcast? Well, if you've read the description already, you should see that there's only one left. And if you know anything about me, you probably should have seen this coming even before you watched this video. Haikyuu. It's an anime that's on Crunchyroll, and it's basically about a guy who's on his high school volleyball team. And I like a lot of sports anime. I don't necessarily love the genre, but when it is done well, then it usually ends up being some of my favorites. And so this one I think is done incredibly well. In fact, it's done so well that I've actually started watching just like regular volleyball. Like I'm watching like high school and college volleyball games anytime they pop up on my TV. Like this anime made a boring ass game that I have no interest in at all suddenly very, very exciting, and I'm so hyped up every fucking week. This is one of those shows that I've said it before and I'll say it again. If it goes to 800 episodes, I will be there watching every single one of them. It's incredibly funny with a really great storyline, great character development, and it's really exciting action that keeps me on the edge of my seats. Like I eagerly look forward to every single episode with so much anticipation. I just fucking love it. It is the best simulcast show out there right now, at least in my opinion. Yeah, if you like this video, don't forget to click the like button. Leave a comment below. Tell me if you've seen any of them. If you have, did you like them? Did you not? Why or why not? Tell me any other anime that you would recommend me to see. If you want me to review any more of these in their own separate videos, so I can go deeper into detail with possible spoilers. Tell me what you're looking forward to from the next simulcast, because I know Funimation already put out their list of the ones that they're going to do for the winter simulcast, and oh my god, it looks amazing. I am excited. So until the next time you see my face in the video, my name is Nathan Lyle, and I hope you have a good day.